Hello and welcome back to Appian POC. I hope you guys are doing good. Today in this tutorial, I'll walk you through how to create a word counter app that not only count words but also instantly counts characters and sentences as the user types without even needing to click a button. So without any further delays, let's get started by designing the user interface. To do this, you need to create an interface. I have already created one called AS word counter. In this interface, we will add an input field for the user to enter text and a display field that will show the word count, character count and sentence count as soon as the user starts typing. I will now switch to design mode and will start dragging and dropping the column layout onto my screen, which organizes the user interface elements clearly. So this column layout divides the screen into 3 columns, but I want my screen to be divided into 2 columns. So to do that, I'll just get rid of one of 3 columns. The left column is going to be the text input area for entering or pasting text, and the right column will be used for displaying the count. So we now have 2 containers, and these containers are laid out next to each other. Alright, so now let's start by adding a paragraph field component that will be placed in the left column where the user can input their text, and we will store the input in a local variable. Okay, switching to expression mode to tailor this, we can adjust the height of the text area in the interface by using the height property, which defines how tall the text area is, as we need to have a taller input area for this. Cool. Medium is the default height, and we also need to set the label. Let's set it to enter your text here. Cool. So left section is done. Now let's build right section, which will be used for displaying the count. So we need to divide the right section, right column, into 2 equal sections. We need to ensure that the column layouts are laid out in a column, making them appear one below another. So basically we need to place these column layouts vertically. Okay. In each row there should be only 2 containers, as we need to divide the right column into 2 equal parts, right? So I'm dropping and dragging them one by one, and also ensuring that the screen is divided into 2 equal sections by getting rid of the 3rd column. Switching back to expression mode to start designing the display area. I'm just thinking of leaving the label blank and defining the same as my placeholder, as that would enhance the look and feel of the screen. Now it looks pretty cool, and this placeholder is giving the screen a decent look. Now I'll use card layout component, which is used to display the information in a structured way. And in the content parameter of this card layout, I'm gonna use a bang rich text display field to show the result. We will use 2 rich text items components to display the header and the count. Cool. The first rich text item I am using for the title of the card, and second for the count. Let's set the text to words and keep the size as medium plus, but it looks bit off in size medium plus. Let's change it to medium. Okay, now it looks much better, and we would also want to highlight this title by applying some style. So for that, let's apply the style as strong. Okay, moving on to the next rich text item to display the count. For this, the text should be the count of words, which is going to be dynamic. Okay, I have hard coded it for the time being, and also I'm using this char of 10 to insert a line break within these two rich text items, because I don't want to make it appear next to each other but one below another. So in order to make it appear one below another, I need to use char of 10. Next, we need to store the user input in a local variable. So for that, I will define a local variable and call it local text. Okay, and will also map the value and save into parameter of this paragraph field to this variable which I have just defined. Okay, local text. This will allow the user to type text and the entered text is saved into this variable. If you can see here in the local variables panel, we have a variable called text, okay, which is null right now, and as soon as I enter some text, that is getting stored in this local variable, right? Now that we have a text field set up, let's move ahead and declare another local variable and initialize it with a split function, then get the length. Okay, so I'm calling it words count, and now using a split function which takes two parameters, text and delimiter. So text is going to be local text, which is holding the text we want to split, and we will be splitting this text by spaces, which will return a list of words. Okay, so now if I input some more text in this paragraph field, it will split this text by space and it is gonna return me a list of words. If you can see, this variable is holding two items. Now to get the length, we will use length function, which returns the number of elements in an array. I'm wrapping this split function inside length function, and this will return the number of elements in the list created by split function. Cool. And we'll refer this variable to show the count. Now let's test this out and see if it works as expected. Okay, there is an error which says a null parameter has been passed as parameter 1. That's because of the length function, to which we are passing null value, as the value of local text is null, and that's the reason why it is erroring out. So we will add a null check over there. If a bang is null or empty, local text, if local text is null or empty, then show the count as 0, else just split the text by space and get the length. Right now the count is 0 and I'm just entering some text, but the count is not getting updated as I type in. So for that, we will reset the refresh after parameter from unfocused to key press, which determines when the save into expression is evaluated. Okay, if I set it to key press, it is gonna update the paragraph every time the user types in this field. If you can see, as soon as I set the refresh after to key press, the word count updates automatically as I type, and there is no need for a button. The word count changes in real time based on the input. The word count has been updated to 4, as there are 4 words in this string. In the same manner, we have to configure the rest of the cards. I'll just copy the above card layout and change the text to characters, as we are going to use this card layout for showing the count of characters. And to get one, I'll declare another local variable and call it local characters count. And here I need to get the count of all the characters of the text. So to get the length in characters of the text, we already have a pre-built function called len, which returns the length in characters of the text. Okay, it just takes a single parameter, that is text, and text is going to be local text, as local text is holding the user input. As local text could be null, so I'll add a null check to avoid errors. Now let's quickly test this and see what this local variable returns. I'm going to input some text, and in the local variables panel I can see it is returning 6 as the characters count, which is correct, right? Now the character count has been updated to 9 and now 13, which is working as expected. Now I'll quickly map this local variable to the text parameter of my rich text item, which will show the count of the characters. Looks like there is a mismatch in the placement of these local variables. Let me just correct this, and there we go. I am again going to copy the above card layout and will place it in the first column of the last column layout. Okay, last but not the least, it's gonna be for showing the count of sentences. Declaring another local variable and calling it local sentence count. So we have to split the text by full stop. Okay, text is going to be the variable local text that is containing your string of text, and separator is going to be full stop. Cool. Now to get the length, I will again use length function, as this returns the number of elements in an array. I am wrapping a split function inside length function, and to be on the safer side, I will add a null check over here as well. Alright, now I'll try to input multiple sentences in this input box and see what it returns as the total number of sentences. I have 3 sentences in this input box, but it shows the count as 2, which is incorrect. That's because it is not considering if a sentence ends with a question mark. So we'll specify question mark as my separator along with full stop, and we'll make sure that this split function breaks the text into a list of substring wherever one of the specified punctuation marks is found. Cool. So let's test this out again and see if it works as expected. I'm going to input some text. My name is Appian POC. I am doing great. So currently the count is 2, which is correct. How are you doing? The count has been updated to 3, which is correct. Okay, and I'll add one more sentence. I hope you are doing great. 2. The count has been updated to 4, which is correct. Let me just test this again by inputting multiple sentences. It shows the count as 7, as there are 7 sentences in this input box. Alright, now I am going to refer to this variable to show the sentence count, and the sentences which are ending with question mark and full stop are being taken into account. So it's working as expected. I hope you found part 1 of the word counter POC helpful. Part 2 is coming soon, and I am excited to show you the next steps. If you have any questions or thoughts, feel free to drop them in the comments below. I would love to hear from you. Don't forget to like, subscribe and hit the bell icon so you don't miss the next update. Cheers. See you in the next video.